here's the final summation of this whole thing. The third and final installment of this. I think in about 50 or 100 years or more, the Michael Jackson Diana phone calls, since they talked to each other for 300 times over the phone, I think it'll probably come out in 50 years or 100 years that Neverland Ranch was under British surveillance, some form of British surveillance because of that. And like I said in the previous thing, that they needed to use fake child abuse allegations as a cover to survey him, for the British government to survey him. And it would probably make the most sense. This sounds so logical. It just sounds so logical at this point. It's like you're connecting the dots, and you're seeing it. It's like watching LeBron James score a basket. It's like Mike Tyson hitting a knockout blow. This whole picture, And matter of fact, I believe that it'll probably come out, let's say in 50 to 100 years, when I'm in the celestial wavelength, in the celestial realm, in the celestial portal, that Neverland Ranch was bugged, and that there was a lot of that basically the reason why he moved out of Neverland Ranch wasn't because he was heartbroken, but because he was afraid that that they were after him, that he was probably going to get killed, that he was probably going to get murdered by them. And that's probably what they, because when you really think about this, it just makes the most logical sense. Because, this was a dry run. Him moving out of Neverland Ranch was like a dry run for the Chris Benoit crisis. Because they would have probably had him. They would have killed his family. And then killed him. And then they would have blamed him for murdering his whole family. Type of deal. This was like a dry run for that. Him moving out of Neverland Ranch was sort of like that, a dry run, a beta test. Because he basically he pissed off, or probably was a wanted man. He had all these face coverings. Notice when you watch him in the stores going shopping with. And he was shopping with his daughter and his son, and they all had face coverings. They all had face coverings like face coverings like this. And his daughter, and they all had Halloween masks, but it was not in Halloween. It was in August, or it was in June, or it was in May, or it was in December. All these masks that he had to wear wasn't because of his skin, wasn't because of any of that. No, he knew probably that they probably were after, that they could have been out and watching and surveying him. And his Neverland Ranch, I bet in 50 to 100 years, it'll come out that he was under some form of British surveillance. British for Diana stuff, they used the same takedown artist, Martin Bashir, in both of them. And Martin Bashir was the person who basically eulogized Michael Jackson after, like, on the evening of his assassination in June 25th, 2009. He was like the person on ABC, he was the person on ABC saying, "Sir, we have condolences." Yeah, because that's what you did. You took him out. That was your job, and that was his job to take him out. And because all these phone calls, they probably feared that government probably feared that he undermined the monarchy. He probably did, and so they probably needed to fake abuse allegations. Notice how most of the people who believe that stuff are people in Europe and people in UK and some people who probably watched stuff from other networks that are associated with that government. Notice how the demographics of the people who believe it are people in the UK or Europe. It makes sense now. This makes more sense than anything else, because they needed this guy out. They did it in a day like today, when it was in about 75 or 80 degree weather on broad daylight in the morning of June 25th, 2009. I think in California, I think whether it was Santa Monica or Los Angeles, with the lights on bright, clear sky, like at 9 in the morning or whatever. They needed this guy out. And so they basically needed this guy out because they needed this guy out. They couldn't have this guy around because he undermined, he defrauded, or they probably, this is what they were thinking. And I think this is probably the truth. I think that there's a lot of reason and logic in this explanation, because it's so perfect. It's like you look at this event, and they use Martin Bashir to take who interviewed Diana and made a documentary with this guy, and trying to make him look like he was sleeping with children, trying to take the real life version of a James Bond, trying to say, okay, you have to do this, and we're gonna do this. So he tried that, didn't want to do it, so they had to do something else. So and bless our hearts, our FBI basically saw this and basically vindicated and saw all the evidence and killed him like a dozen times. And when you look at this event, it makes so much sense that that the British basically was trying to take him down and failed. So they basically went with the poison route in 2009. Makes that much sense. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. You can't. It speaks for itself. Martin Bashir interviewed Diana and basically took this guy out. It's like, and when you look at what they did, they used all they needed to survey the guy. How would you survey someone of this nature? How would you build a profile on? How would the British government build a profile on him? By probably making fake child abuse allegations. They through a cover, and they use that as a cover to say, okay, let's see his ranch. Let's see what he's about. Let's see what his deal is about. Let's see what his ranch looks like. Let's see what everything looks like, and let's make a profile on him. They did that through I think fake child abuse allegations, and and it's very obvious they did, because they used Martin Bashir and Diana and Michael, because it's just obvious. And Stevie Wonder could see this. The late Ray Charles could see this. Until next time, I'm Mega Leader signing off.